there's something else that I need to add. I was trying to say it before, but I got distracted by saying something else. But each month, so they're in order of me and who I think is the worst to the least worst, but technically it's all the worst. It's the worst people who have died in the last every year. There's like this is the worst people. They all go to hell, and I put them in order, and then I see how they react. If you're a bad person and you realize you're in hell and you think, I deserve this and I'm just going to commit suicide, well, the month later you can actually come back. I'll bring you back to life in this sort of matrix looking hell world. But I'll bring you back. But I would say that, my opinion of you is now changed. It's not as bad as it was. And say if someone's started being like, what, there's loads of levels, I would have the communication between all the levels being far better. And so therefore the people at the bottom, would be able to say, can you tell us how many levels there are? And they'll send a message to all the people to pass this down. And I would have them being a bit more friendly. Like I don't think people will be like, I'm not talking to you. There was the guy in the film, the first one that he spoke to, the first roommate. He was a bit like Hannibal Lecter, who reminded me of, and he was almost saying like, no, I don't talk to you, I don't give you any information. But I just don't think that's realistic. I think if people were in this hell, they would want to know as much information as possible so they can get out, so they know what's coming, so they can figure it out together. And so I would have a similar story, only I would have the people actually be more willing to work together. Like, okay, yes, they're all murderers and shitholes, but they care about themselves and they realize that the best way to help, to get out of there might be to try and figure it out together and to learn the truth about how many levels there are. And so they'll do a Chinese whisper down to the bottom to find out how many levels there are and try and work out things. But yeah, each month, the people, each month they'll get assessed and tested to see how they respond to the situation. And even if, even the people at the bottom realize that we're going to die, do they say, oh, okay, we're going to die, I'm going to kill myself? Or do they say, oh, we're going to die, let's just wait to see who goes mad and kills themselves? Or maybe someone kills themselves, Rob, and you can see them on a different level and they join together and say, okay, there's a dead body on that level, let's eat them. I mean, I don't want to focus on the cannibalism part, that was absolutely disgusting, but at the same time, I like the responses, how people react in certain things. Now, technically, I believe that it's a matrix world and you don't actually need to eat because nothing there is actual physical. And so that could be the sort of weird twist at the bottom, which is that you believe that you have a body. One of them can finally decide, okay, let's go all the way down to the bottom of the next level. Only this time I'm going to go straight up to the top because the food goes down like this to all the different levels, delivering the food. And then at the end, it shoots up right to the top again. And so people could figure out, okay, there's no way up, but the only way up is actually to go all the way down to the bottom and then make the way at the top. And so there could be like a fight of people who want to go down to the bottom. No, they don't. Yes, they do. And then, of course, the lower you go, the worse the people are because they're more criminalized, more evil, basically. Of course, so the further you go down, the more people that are likely to die. And then every month it gets reshuffled, and you don't know which level you're going to be on. But the catch is the reason why when it's recessed, it's basically how you react. So if you act in a really good way, if you are saying, okay, I'm going to be considerate of others, or I'm going to take my own life, or I'm going to do that, they can come back to life, but they get reordered towards best, in order of best to least. But every month, if you say you watch a show like Big Brother or something, and you can be like, oh, I like that housemate, and then you can wait another few weeks, get to know them more, and then you realize actually I don't like them, or I like this one more, or I like this one more. So basically every month they get ordered again into the leader, whoever owns it, which is kind of, it could be me in the film. So I could actually be the god at the end that you see of this world, and I'm ordering them. I put them in order of least to most least to worst, worst to least worst. Technically, they're all bad. They're all horrible people. And each month I get to reorder them so that I can put them on best to least. And yeah, each month they might even die and then come back to life again, die and come back to life again, and they have to try and figure out like what's going on. Technically, the people that are going to suffer the least are actually the people who are going to keep killing themselves each month, and because once you die, you just stay dead and you don't have to suffer. And that would be the twist of the film, which is that the ones that are alive are the ones that are like struggling really hard to survive. Even if it means resulting to cannibalism or resulting to eating people's food that's been pissed on or something. The ones that are so badly struggling to survive, they're the ones that are kind of just making themselves suffer. And the ones that are just like, I'm just going to have to kill myself over and over again, those are the ones that are actually suffering least. And that's kind of the point. But eventually, enough people survive and figure it out. I think if they die and come back, they do remember things, but they only remember the part that they remember. And I don't know. Yeah, yeah, they remember their life and stuff, but yeah, eventually they have to figure out how many levels there are and what's going on, and they start realizing that people that you kill don't actually die; they just come back the next month, and so there could be one person that you've just murdered, but next life they come back again, and they aren't going to treat you in the same way because you're like, hey, you murdered me in the last month, and I feel like that's a funner way of doing it. I give them more food, make it less about cannibalism and more about reactions to how they would work out together, and eventually that is the plot. They have to figure out how to go all the way down to the bottom without, I can imagine the lower you go, um, the more danger you put yourself in, because the lower you go, those are the worst people. The worst people are down there, and but yeah, um, if the worst people are down there and they do terrible things, well, they're going to still be down there the next month, and again they're going to have to go through days and days of not having any food and just feeling really really bad, but not actually dying. And but yeah, they only die when they get killed. They don't die of starvation, but they don't realize that because they will feel hungry and they'll feel weak and stuff. I don't know. I'd do it something like that.